let's head down there and welcome in our Johnson Wagner, who we are delighted to welcome into our Live From programming this week. And what a start it's been. That walk and talk with Rory McIlroy was one to behold earlier today, Johnson. So thanks for grabbing him on the 10th hole. And now as we try to dive into the conditions of this layout in a bit more detail, what stands out to you the most about this great golf course?
Well, hey, Cara, it's good to be with you guys. As you can see behind me at the 12th, I love the way the bunkering kind of hides the greens. It's a real common feature. There's a few holes that give you a run-up, but what I notice about this golf course is just the steep flashes of bunkers really hiding these very unique green complexes with little nooks and crannies of hole locations all over. It's pretty special out here. And I will say, yesterday the course felt a lot greener. It is starting to brown up. It's only Tuesday. Talked to some guys at the USGA yesterday, and they can turn the screws up on this golf course. Not much humidity out here, and I think we're in for a real treat as we progress through this week.
Johnson, I heard a lot of players say they don't like this tall fescue that's around the bunkers, particularly around the greens. Have you heard any players say they like it?
If any player likes this tall fescue, then they're absolutely crazy. And I actually, in this conversation with the USGA agronomist yesterday on this hole, the way they're cutting this, it's the same grass that we had at Oak Hill at the last major championship, but here they take a scythe and they come and they hack at it, and that's why it's got the rugged appearance around the greens. It's they're not coming in here with a mower. They're actually out here doing it by hand with like a reaper, basically.
Hey, Johnson, would you mind for the audience demonstrating what that stuff is going to look like when a ball's in it so they can really understand how difficult it is for these players to get the ball up and down?
We'll see if my arm can be accurate, but let's look at this back right or this front right hole location on 12. You got to come over this bunker. So I'm gonna throw one. I'm going to try to land it just over the bunker. Looks like it got a good bounce. We'll have to go check on it. Ooh, that one stayed in. We'll get a good look. Just one more for good measure. Uh-oh, we're in the bunker now. All right, as we walk up here, you can see all these nooks and crannies, and look at the rugged edges. You got all this tall fescue coming off of it. So we're up here. Ooh, both of them stayed. I'm actually having a hard time even finding it. That could be a problem. Oh, here we are. So let's say the hole location's right here. We've got a tee in the ground from the caddies. This ball is buried in this stuff, and it is so thick and dense. A lot of people have been talking about this grass like it's St. Augustine grass that you'd see in a yard in Florida, but this is tall fescue, and this thing has sunk all the way down to the bottom. Now, if you're hitting this shot to a short pin right here, it's a guessing game how it's going to come out.
Johnson, I love what you said about a guessing game. I was walking the back nine with Rory yesterday afternoon, his first time seeing the course, and in this hole in particular, he was hitting shots from right where you're standing. It was remarkable to see these full swings he was taking, open club face, and what the ball did when it hit the ground. There's no way to stop it when it lands.
There's no way to stop it when it lands, and you have to give it a ton of speed just to move it the yard and a half that it's needed to get onto the green. And interesting, I heard you guys talking about players laying up here. Just before in the group was Colin Morikawa playing by himself, and I heard him and his caddy, JJ Djokovic, and Colin was emphatic. He said, all right, my decision's made. I'm hitting driver, and I'm going to send it up there as far as I can. So you may see some different strategies out of different players off of this tee box.
Hey, Johnson, Jaime Diaz. I just wondered if any guys are using different wedges because of this stuff. Maybe 64, does that work better? Or what is the shot what club is the most effective, do you think, to come out of that?
Well, I'm pretty happy with my position and no club. The key is don't hit it in it. I don't think a 64 degree is going to make that much of a difference. Did talk to Rory this morning. He put a fourth wedge in play, not specifically for this grass, but for the amount of wedges that you can have on this golf course. He wanted to have multiple different options of spin and height, and wedge play is going to be incredibly important around this golf course.
Johnson, how much more difficult is that grass? What I noticed when I walked on Sunday and really took a good look, it looks like how much more difficult is bunker play going to be because of that? The bunkers are set back a decent ways from the greens, and then you've got to come over that stuff. So it seems like if you have a front flag with a bunker, even with an upslope on the bunker, you can't bounce it through it.
No, you can't bounce it through it. And this one ball I threw is in the bunker, and so if you just hit a nice little soft bunker shot out, it is going to stick and leave you the same thing. So you're going to have to see very conservative bunker play. I will say the best bunker players are going to have an advantage. We got a group coming up, so we're going to slide over to the edge of the green here so we don't get hit by one of these balls. But as you can see, look at this little pocket on the front right of this green. There is nothing, guys are going to have to be, even with the wedge from the center of the fairway, are going to have to be playing away from these bunkers and leaving themselves downhill putts coming back down. It's really interesting talking to the guys and listening to the different strategies. And then if you come over the back of the green, hit it a little hard, whoa, what do you get now? Now you get a downhill chip out of extremely jumpy Bermuda. And the guys that grew up in the South playing Bermuda grass golf courses, they have said that this Bermuda out here is nothing like what they grew up with. And I'm speculating, but I do have to think that the low humidity in California it's just a different kind of Bermuda feel.
And Johnson, you know, the difference between the tall fescue, which we normally think is thin and wispy, it's so thick and dense, and then you have this Bermuda grass. It's a totally different shot, isn't it, on the same hole?
It's a totally different shot, and it could be a matter of a yard. If your ball gets a good bounce and kicks out of that fescue, then you're in the Bermuda, which is a totally different animal. So when I play out of Bermuda lies, I like to play it like a little bit of a soft bunker shot. Out of the tall fescue, you've kind of got to play it like a plugged lie bunker shot, if that makes sense. So guys are practicing. I think that's why we're seeing only 9-hole practice rounds, because so much time is being spent around these greens.
So what you're saying, Johnson, is greens in regulation.
Mm-hmm. And that starts with fairways. Yeah, fairways first.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you just hit every fairway, every green, maybe a couple one putts, but a lot of 2-putt pars, you'll probably be in a pretty good spot come Sunday.